Hello and welcome to Georgia Bulldogs Live here on the Georgia Voice of College Football. Coming to you at prompt 7:30. I know the folks, try to tune in at 7, but we're coming to you at 7:30 here tonight, folks. I'm Matt Green, like I said, my co-host over there, Bo Underwood. Bo, how you doing today, sir?
Doing all right. It's Auburn week. We've got another big rivalry coming up. I'm excited to talk about it, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm with you, man. It's an exciting week. Like, no disrespect, it's you can't take it any other way but disrespectful, if we're being honest. But the Kentucky game just doesn't have the juice that the Auburn game does. Even in years where Kentucky's better than Auburn, it's like this rivalry just means more. It's the Deep South's oldest rivalry. When the SEC was making the list of locked rivals, I would imagine this was, if not the first, the second, third game. It was like this one's happening every year. This is now. Oh man, I had the stats right in front of me a second ago. The overall matchup. What is it? Shoot, great radio here. Oh man, I had it pulled up. 65-56 and all. 65-56 and 8 all time. So what is that math? 110, 129 matchups, I believe, if I'm doing that math correctly. But yeah, so these two teams have played every year, right, since 1893. So
Yeah,
Georgia Auburn always gets you excited. Even then, there's been some years where Auburn hasn't been as competitive, but it's still has some juice because weird things happen in this rivalry, especially in Jordan-Hare Stadium. But yeah, we'll get to our preview and everything here a little bit later. But man, I don't know if we should start waiting on doing the post game. Obviously, social lives and want to do things on Saturday night. Maybe that's an impact. But I don't know. There's so much craziness. I felt like when we logged on here at like 4:30, it was like so much still happened that we couldn't even
yeah.
talk about
We
other
were
than
in
the
the
Georgia
middle of
game.
we are in the middle of the Texas game at the time, I think, right? And
Yeah, it's like Texas and Vanderbilt, like second quarter,
yeah,
I think.
Vanderbilt, yeah,
But
it was a
but
crazy
yeah,
week.
yeah, UCLA beating Penn State, Florida beating Texas. Uh, you know,
Mhm.
three of the here, I guess this is a solid segue because three of the preseason top four ranked teams are already
That's crazy.
unranked. I feel like every year there's at least one preseason top 10 team that is that's preseason top 10 that finishes season unranked. Looks a little blurry there. I don't know on your end, but that's a little better. But yeah, so right now it's, I mean, what was it? Preseason one was Texas, three
Mhm.
was Penn State, four was
Yeah,
Clemson, and to see all three of those not in the top 25 is kind of crazy. My graphic says top 25, but I'm just showing the top 10 there. But yeah, Georgia's back in the top 10. I read you that stat last week that since that blowout of Mississippi State in 2017, Georgia's been outside of the top 10, outside of the top 10 for 6 weeks total. So things are a little back to normal with Georgia in their rightful space back in the top 10. But we'll see how long it lasts. A couple difficult games coming up here. The Ole Miss Rebels sitting up there at number 4 a couple weeks from now, but we're not looking ahead. Of course,
mhm.
we're focused on Auburn right now. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think about this top 10 right now? Would you have Ohio State 1 or Miami 1?
Yeah, I would have Ohio State. I feel vindicated from saying early, like before the season started, that Ohio State should have been the preseason number one. I still can't believe that Texas, after not winning the national championship, not even winning their conference, losing their starting quarterback, losing their number one receiver, losing their best safety, losing their best corner, like that was the most drummed up media hype for no real reason. I mean, I don't know. I just didn't understand the media's obsession with crowning Texas as the new number one superpower, the new Bama, if you want to say that, when they hadn't won anything yet. I'm all for, if Texas goes on a run and they win a championship, I'm all for crowning them. But they didn't do that. And to see them, I didn't think they'd be unranked by now for sure, but to see them not be ranked and not be in the top 10 anymore, it's kind of like, well, yeah, because that was a just a manufactured hype train, I think, that came crashing because it wasn't really based on anything other than vibes and people just kind of wanting there to be something there that wasn't there yet.
Yeah, there was definitely this assumption that Texas was just already this kind of factory that just reloads every year. It's like that's what Ohio State is. So if you're just gonna like fill in your bracket based on the helmet and you don't really know the personnel, yeah, I'm with you. Do that with Ohio State. Texas still, I do feel I feel I'm not gonna say I don't think anyone predicted like to the extent that some of these things have happened, but I feel pretty validated in my preseason just vibes of all three of those teams.
Yeah.
It's just like I never thought Penn State was legit, but I did not think they were going to lose to UCLA. I thought they were just going to do the Penn State thing and go 10-2 and lose to the 2 top 10 teams you play and be the 9 seed in the playoff, and because you're a good program. But to lose to UCLA the way they did was just shocking.
That was crazy.
But
I shouldn't have gone on here and immediately started crapping on Texas because Penn State is the story of this week, dude. Holy, how did that happen?
But from a Texas perspective, though, I feel like we were kind of sitting here like you guys being Texas fans kind of dogged Quinn Ewers last year. So the guy who's not as good as Quinn, the guy who's not good enough to beat out Quinn Ewers is gonna all of a sudden be the best player in college football. It never really made sense in my mind. Now Feinbaum's take was so bad they're taking him off ESPN about it, I guess. But then Clemson too. It was like, are we all forgetting that Clemson lost every time they played a good team last year, other than SMU in the ACC championship? It was Georgia. It was like Louisville. Who else was it? Like, it wasn't even like great teams. There was another team in the ACC that was just like a solid team.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting off the top of my head,
but
South Carolina. That was the other one.
Yeah. The argument for Texas, or for Clemson, I guess, was just they were returning so many guys and they had Klubnik coming back and they had that front seven and, the championship pedigree with Dabo. If that means anything to you, but it just turns out that they just weren't very good. Like they're just not. I think of the 3 teams that are not ranked anymore that we're talking about, I think they're probably the worst one. Texas probably still the best one. I don't know. I just, it's insane that Ohio State won the national championship, returned the best player in the country on defense and offense, and was first ranked below the team that they beat in the playoff that lost more production than Ohio State did. I cannot, I know it's easy to sit here in hindsight, so I'll stop harping on it, but like, I cannot believe that was ever a thing.
No, that's fair. I'm not sure I agree with like your number one until you lose, like, because teams can lose so much from the previous year. Like if you ranked LSU preseason number 1 in 2020, like, you just knew for a fact that team wasn't going to be as good, but I guess no one knew they were going to be whatever they were, like 7-5 or maybe worse that year.
They were bad, yeah.
I guess it's 2020, so they played like 10 games. But yeah, I guess I don't completely hate that logic either. At the same time, right now, I think after week 1, I'm throwing out like last season, and we'll try to judge you based on this year, but. Right now, if I was ranking it, I'd have Miami number 1 personally. They look like the best team because let's keep in mind, like, that Texas win is kind of the biggest notch on Ohio State's resume, and we kind of think they're terrible right now. The same could be said for Oregon. Like that Penn State win is really the only legitimate notch on that resume. So we'll see if Ohio State and Oregon are that legit, or maybe they just exposed Penn State and Texas early on.
Yeah, and we'll learn a lot about. I mean, which one of them is playing Indiana this week? I mean, like. We'll learn a lot.
Yeah, that's Indiana at Oregon. That's game day.
So we'll learn a lot about those teams. Even Ohio State's got a ranked matchup this week. They've got Illinois, right? Like that. Yeah. So we'll find out. Yeah, I agree.
And that's on the road too.
The Penn State and Texas wins were like their 2 biggest things for them to be in the top 3, and then it's like, well, you actually don't even have Penn State and Texas ranked anymore.
Yeah,
it's just funny. I didn't think that they were actually going to unrank Texas and Penn State. I saw people saying that, and I kind of thought that they would, or that they should. But with the media, how much they glazed Texas in the preseason and even Penn State a little bit, I was like, there's no way they unranked them. That's their darlings. And they did. So,
yeah.
That's crazy. I 2 teams in the top 4 or Texas was number 9, but them both getting unranked is very interesting to me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like exactly kind of same thought process. It was still jarring when I saw that neither was ranked. I was like, oh wow. And now I had to go to the top 25. I was like, wow, Texas's game isn't in the top 25 teams right now. It was throwing me off. But yeah, and also what it goes to show is how difficult it is to go on the road in this conference.
Mhm.
Obviously, Penn State went on the road and played in front of like 200 people in the Rose Bowl. But just going in the swamp, this Florida team has been left for dead, and it's still, I don't even know how much it says about Florida. I think probably Florida does have a pulse. But it's like, to me, it's more of a bigger indictment on Texas, because now with that performance versus Ohio State, who is really good and one of the best teams in college football, it's how it looked. It's like you know when you're watching a game that's a close game between two really good teams, and when you're watching two teams that just don't look very good, like neither of those offenses really did anything in that game. And it was week 1, and maybe they've come a long way since, but Arch is still doing the same stuff, just missing throws. It's like, it's one thing if you're getting sacked, there's a bunch of pressure and all that stuff, but like, I don't know, it's like just balls just look bad, like coming out of his hand. Like it doesn't pass the eye test.
Yeah, I feel bad just like, because I know Arch is, I can't imagine what Arch goes through every day with the things that get said about him in the media and how much he gets ripped apart and the pedestal he's on. But yeah, he hasn't been what I think a lot of people thought he would be this year. I would say I was more down on Arch than most people, but I still thought Arch was really good, and I still think he's got a lot of talent. But he's having a rough year, man. I hope he can turn it around.
He did make that nice throw, like that 50-yard bomb, and then he was making some plays with his legs. It kind of looked like in the second half he was like, okay, maybe Texas is gonna, I don't know, like those games where the better team just starts to look like the better team at some point. It's like, I don't know what was happening. Like maybe like Georgia, South Carolina a couple years ago, was that 14-0 at halftime or something?
Yeah.
And then it was just like, okay, I don't know what happened in the first half, but these two teams are not on the same level. It's like Texas just never did that. They never came out and just looked like a better team than Florida. So it's just, it was very weird. And like, I feel like Florida, might be like a weird take. I said this last night on the Chase Thomas podcast, but I feel like there's like 5 teams in the SEC that all feel like the same team with just like varying levels of quarterback play. And they're all very differently ranked. So it's going to seem crazy to say all these are the same, but I feel like Texas A&M, Oklahoma, LSU, Auburn, and Florida all feel like the same team, just with different quarterbacks. Like their defenses are all just rowdy and get after it. They have playmakers, but it's like some of them have a quarterback that could throw 5 picks one day. Jackson Arnold doesn't throw picks, but he doesn't seem to do much. He just takes sacks. So it's like we've seen like with John Mateer, like it's not like they lit up Auburn. So like John Mateer's looked really good, made Oklahoma look like a top 5 team, and maybe it's disrespectful to Marcel Reed and some of the offensive numbers A&M's put up to this point, but all those teams just, I feel like they're legit contenders on defense. But any given day, like the offense, I don't know. I don't know necessarily how much you can trust it, if that's fair.
Yeah.
Same goes to Nussmeier too.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess that's just like an SEC talent baseline thing. Like all of those programs all take football very seriously, and it's a point of pride for all of them, and they're going to sink all the resources that they can into that program. It's just like, maybe this isn't fair to say because we've seen, like, for example, A&M, blow a bag on their team and it just not be good. But like, you can spend a ton of money on like your defense and feel pretty good about it being a good defense. But yeah, it's just a little more fickle, I think, getting good quarterback play, and it just kind of always has been.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, and it's not even to say just like base SEC level, because I don't think Alabama and Georgia's defenses have looked nearly as good as any of those other teams I named, just in terms of like creating havoc, creating just negative plays and things like that. But I think Georgia and Alabama have better offenses, more consistent offenses than any of those teams I named. So, and then Ole Miss is that question mark at the top. Like maybe they have all of it. I don't know. I'm still skeptical about Ole Miss. We'll see once their competition ramps up. But yeah, that's it's an interesting top 25 so far. Top 10, especially with 5 SEC teams in the top 10. There was talked about like there was a big three kind of coming in: Georgia, Alabama, and Texas. And you got Ole Miss, A&M, and Oklahoma there, right there at 4, 5, 6. So anything can happen in this conference. It's gonna be a wild next couple months.
Yeah, it'll be crazy. This conference is just insane, and it looks like there's even more top end teams in the SEC than usual. With A&M and Oklahoma being on the rise like they are. So not even on the rise; they're in the top 6 now. So yeah, it'll be a hell of a October and November in the good old Southeastern Conference.
Absolutely, sir. But let's get to the Georgia Bulldogs and the Auburn Tigers, sir. We'll dance around this one before we kind of preview it. But let's say this is let's start with your favorite moments, because we come from a little bit different eras of our Georgia fandom. They start at different years. So just kind of curious, I have my list at least, just kind of somewhere throughout here. But what's the first what's the first Georgia Auburn moment that comes to mind for you?
I think my favorite Georgia Auburn game of all time is the 2017 SEC championship, of course.
Yeah.
And I think my favorite moment from that game, people always talk about the Swift run, and that was a cool play, and it sealed it. But my favorite play from that game is the Terry Godwin octopus, where they just threw him 2 straight goal line fades, and he just sunned the guy both times. And when he caught it, he screamed at him. It was like, you can't guard me, whatever. And
I do remember him talking a lot.
I think that just sums up the ethos of this rivalry really well. And it was 2 big plays and a big moment. And I thought it was sick. I mean, Terry Godwin, super slept on player. That was the moment where I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna win this game. Like we're just winning these one-on-ones. We're screaming at them and they can't guard us after, because they can't.
Did that make it 14-7? Or was that to take the lead? Or that
it made it 21-7. I was go up 2 scores. It was in the 4th quarter, and they literally maybe I'm sure that there's more. The 2 plays are more different than I'm remembering, but if I remember, it's like they just threw him 2 fades, 1-on-1, and he just snatched them both.
That is how I remember it too, right in the front corner of the end zone.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact play. I also remember there was a terrible a phantom offensive PI call we had in that game at one point. I think they called it on Godwin, or we had a touchdown. They took off.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, that made it even better.
I think the biggest play of that game was Davin Bellamy's the strip fumble, because Auburn scored on that first possession. I mean, and they also blasted Georgia in that first game, and they scored on that first possession. It looked like they were that may have been the second possession. It was still early, they were ready to go up 14-0. And then that strip sack, forced fumble that really changed the game. And then I want to say it was Daquan Hawkins Muckle. It's a random name drop. I'm pretty sure he's the one that blocked the field goal in that game.
I think it was Daquan Hawkins Muckle, and Sanders recovered it. Yeah, and then also the exclamation point.
He caught it in the air, and then the whole sideline went nuts. I remember my Florida buddy that texted me, he was like, that was so badass. Right when that happened, it was like, if he's excited about it, I'm juiced.
And then I remember, didn't Roquan Smith sack Stidham right on the SEC logo? I remember that being a big play.
Yeah, threw him to the ground violently.
Those are the kinds of plays that are that's what this rivalry should be. Not saying Georgia needs to dominate the whole time. I just mean the physicality and the meanness. That's the best part about the Deep South of this rivalry.
For sure. And he had the fumble recovery too. Kerryon Johnson got injured in the Alabama game, so he was trying to play with it. But yeah, that DeAndre Swift moment though, it was that Keely Ringo moment that was just we did it. It's been a while. It's been 12 years at that point since Georgia won the SEC championship. And also at that point too, that was the biggest win of my Georgia fandom at that point in 2017, because that's the first time that Georgia's ever won the SEC. And then you're going on to potentially play for a national championship. In 2002, 2005, that didn't happen. So this was the first time, oh, wow, we're going to the semifinals and we could win a national championship. So to that point, that was just such a huge one. Obviously, I think the biggest moment in and maybe all of the Georgia in terms of just the game-winning touchdown, the Michael Johnson in 2002.
Oh yeah.
On the 4th and 1, or it's either 4th and 1 or 4th and 10. I can't remember. And went deep. Yeah, it's very different, but it didn't matter because they went for 30 or whatever it was. The sneaky ones to me, the 2006 upset at Auburn. Georgia goes into that game 6-4. Auburn's ranked number 5, 9-1, and Stafford just absolutely balled and showed what the future of Matthew Stafford was right then. That's really like his first, I feel like, great game in college. And they just absolutely blasted Auburn, and Trey Battle had 3 picks with a pick 6, and pretty sure Brandon Cox completed as many passes to Georgia as he did to Auburn that day.
Brandon Cox did that a lot. He threw a lot of picks to Georgia.
Yeah, he absolutely did. Is he their all-time leading passer? He's like up there, I think.
I mean, he was like a 3-4 year starter. Probably was. He's probably up there.
Yeah, I was at the 2016 upset in Sanford Stadium, year 1 of Kirby Smart. So that one was great.
Oh, Smith.
Auburn. Yeah, another one where Auburn scored on the first possession of the game and then never scored again. But I have one for you right here. What were you gonna say something?
Oh, I was gonna bring up. I didn't. Maybe this is what you're gonna say. I was gonna bring up the Todd Gurley kickoff return.
Yes. So this is what I was gonna say. The 2014 Auburn game, I think, is the most bittersweet Georgia football game of all time.
All time, easily.
But I want to know what direction are you going with? Because I might not be going the same direction as you.
I was just thinking about for Todd. I mean, Todd was like my dude growing up. I was an 11-year-old kid. I remember where I was when I found out that he got suspended. My week was ruined. My month was ruined. And
I remember where I was as well.
Against Auburn, first time he touched the ball. I know it didn't count. It got called back. But seeing him score literally the first time he touched the ball, and then Georgia just beats the brakes off of Auburn, and it's his great game. And then at the end, Todd Gurley tears his ACL, and we kind of have to live with the fact that obviously Todd Gurley did go on to do great things in the NFL, but knee problems are what did him in when he was still in his 20s, and with the arthritis and everything. And I think I'm not a doctor, but I think it's widely believed that his knee problems started there, which it's a torn ACL. So just for Gurley and how Gurley's pro career ultimately ended before it should have, I think that's a pretty bittersweet one for me.
See, and that's a great call, man. That opening kickoff was just like legendary stuff. Like the first time he touches it, like this guy's been suspended 4 games for some stuff that's not even illegal anymore. And especially AJ Green at the 4-game suspension too. Like I don't think Georgia loses to. They at least lost to Florida. That was the what was that quarterback? Man, I totally blanking on the.
They lost to Tech that year.
They lost to Tech, Florida, and South Carolina.
Yeah.
But the Florida one was when why am I blanking? I'm usually able to pull this name. The quarterback for Florida went like 2 for 4. Like he didn't. He was their backup quarterback. He was a dual threat dude, and he threw it like 5 times. And Florida had like 400 yards rushing. It was insane. Like they had I think legit. It was Taylor and the dude that played for the Redskins, Matt Jones.
Oh, dude, it was Treon Harris.
Treon Harris. Yes. What were his numbers in that game?
He was 3 for 6 for 27 yards.
It just makes no sense.
Florida, this is such an aside because we're talking about Auburn. But Florida ran the ball 60 times for 418 yards and 5 touchdowns.
That's how I'm Kelvin Taylor and Matt Jones. Like, did they almost both go for 200 or something?
Yes, they both. Taylor had 197 yards, 2 tuds. Jones had 192 yards, 2 tuds. Both on 25 carries. That is the craziest. That's actually insane.
It made no sense. That 2014 team was pretty good, and that Auburn game was like a week later, or 2 weeks later, and they just smash Auburn. Like I think Auburn was a good team that year. I think they dropped like 40 or something against Alabama, and Georgia beat them 34-7. But that's the most bittersweet game, in my opinion, the 2014 game, because I think the greatest college football running back duo that never was Todd Gurley and Nick Chubb. And that's like the only game we ever got to see. These dudes combined for 334 total yards and 3 touchdowns in that game. Like Chubb was 19 for 144 and 2 touchdowns. Gurley was 29 for 138. The only other one that was like even similar was the first game of the season, because Chubb was in with some garbage time. But in that opener versus Clemson, they combined for 268 and 4 touchdowns between the two of them. But yeah, I just feel like Todd Gurley and Nick Chubb, like you look at the stats and you're like, damn, Georgia had a year where they had a 1,500-yard rusher, and you're like, yeah, the other guy should have been the Heisman Trophy winner, like who had like 900 and something yards in like 5 games or 6 games, however many he played that year. It's the weirdest thing. If you look at a team that has like a 1,500-yard rusher and a basically 1,000-yard rusher, and they were just never really a duo. Like we never got to see them like at the same time. So that's why the 2014 Auburn game is bittersweet to me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Gurley and Chubb eventually went on to become, each of them or was arguably the best running back on earth at one point. So the fact that they're on the same team, I feel like we can never overstate how insane that really was.
Yeah, you said you were an 11-year-old. I was a 24-year-old man, and I felt the same way about Todd Gurley that you did. So I'm with you there. Okay, let's see here. This is what I want to say about this Georgia-Auburn rivalry, sir. I think Georgia-Auburn might be the most one-sided rivalry in college football that nobody talks about. Like, I feel like maybe it's because Auburn's not that good, and Georgia, obviously Alabama owning Georgia is sexier than Georgia owning what's been kind of a middle-of-the-road SEC team. But like, you remember the Florida, and maybe we're Georgia-centric and nationally people don't talk about it as much, but you remember like the Florida Georgia domination, like it was a thing. It was a narrative publicly that Florida had won whatever they had, like 17 of 19 or whatever kind of streaks they were on. I don't think people truly appreciate how much Georgia kind of owns Auburn. Like, maybe these are famous last words here. We're talking the week of the Georgia Auburn game, but of the last 20 matchups, Georgia is 17-3 against Auburn.
That's crazy.
And that's kind of domination. And so that's Kirby Smart right there. Kirby is now 9-1. Here's a fun fact for you. Auburn Tigers fans and Daniel Denny, I appreciate you watching live, sir. Let me put your comment. 42-10 Georgia. I assumed it said Auburn. I saw his logo, but yeah, he's thinking 42-10 Georgia. I don't think I'm even that confident.
He can't be disappointed either way.
There you go. So fun fact for you. Auburn Tigers fans have never ended a season since Kirby Smart has been the head coach. Auburn Tigers fans have never ended a season with bragging rights over Georgia.
Yeah.
That's 10 years in a row now. The one year they get them, Georgia gets them in the SEC championship a couple weeks later. But yeah, and this didn't just start. So Kirby's 9-1. This didn't just start under Kirby Smart, sir. I think Mark Richt doesn't get enough credit for how he kind of took control of some of Georgia's traditional rivalries when it comes, maybe Tech kind of did to themselves. But when it comes to Georgia Tech, Tennessee, Auburn, Mark Richt went 10-5 in his – and won 8 of his last 10 as well. So that 8 of the last 10, and then Kirby being 9-1, that's kind of where we currently are, because Auburn won 3 of the first 5 in this against Mark Richt, and then he kind of dominated from that 2006 upset game. Georgia really, I don't know if they broke Auburn that day, but they kind of dominated from that point forward under Mark Richt. And then you look at some of the years that Richt actually lost to Auburn. 2005. I don't know if do you remember 2005 Georgia Auburn? Is that before your time?
Those two.
But they had like a 4th and 10. Honestly, kind of similar in terms of the 2013 game, just not as fluky. But they had like a 4th and 10, and then they throw like a 70-yard pass all the way down to the 1. They actually scored. Paul Oliver punched it out, and they recovered it in the end zone. But you're not allowed to fumble forward on 4th down. So it kind of screwed Georgia because then they just got a first down at the 1 and then just ran the clock out and kicked a field goal. There was like a minute left, or like 30 seconds left, I think, when it happened. But yeah, so it's like that fluky play in 2005, and then 2013 the prayer at Jordan Hare, and then obviously there's the year where they had the greatest college football player of all time on their roster, as far as I'm concerned, and Cam Newton in 2010, and beat everybody. But yeah, it's Georgia's kind of dominated this rivalry, sir.
Yeah, which, speaking of Cam Newton, they're retiring his number in the game this week.
Is that right?
That's a pretty big deal. I'm kind of with you. That is probably the greatest college football player ever, and he'll be the belle of the ball when Georgia goes to Jordan Hare. That'll be the focus on him.
Yeah, and maybe that's appropriate, because I feel like 2010 is the year that the Georgia rivalry like got a little edgy. It felt like before that, Georgia and Auburn just felt like the same team for like 30, 40 years, like the same program. They're just like good, not really winning championships, but like one of the better teams in the SEC year in, year out. And then obviously the whole, what Pat Dye went to Georgia, coached at Auburn. Vince Dooley went to Auburn, coached at Georgia. So you had there's like Auburn, Georgia just seemed friendly until Nick Fairley in 2010 and all that stuff. Then it got a little nasty.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this one goes. But yeah, I think Mark Richt doesn't get enough credit for kind of how he kind of took a hold of this rivalry. Like before Richt arrived, Auburn led this rivalry 50-46 and 8 all time. Like they had the lead in this rivalry. Now Georgia leads 65-56. They got a 9-game lead in this, and obviously Kirby Smart has a huge role in that as well. But yeah, also Tennessee was 17-11 against Georgia all time before Mark Richt, which not nearly as many matchups as I would have thought. But now Georgia owns that rivalry 30-23. So shout out to Mark Richt as always. Damn good dog. But
I love Coach.
Looking at Kirby in recent history, I'm just off the top of my head, I can't remember many night games in Jordan Hare Stadium. So 2023, that was the one that Brock Bowers took over. We didn't really mention that one as far as the moments and everything. 2021, that was just a blowout, right? There's that Stetson to McConkey play, that deep ball. 2019,
that was at night.
Was it a night, or was it like a 3:30 that ended at night?
I remember it ending at night.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't remember when it started. Let me see. All right, 2019, Georgia Auburn start time.
Because it definitely ended at night. Because you're thinking of like the comeback they were making. Yeah, Trayvon Walker with a sack at the end.
Okay, well this is just wrong. It said it kicked off at 12:30 p.m. Okay, yeah, okay, it was 3:30. It was 3:30.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't remember many night games in this series. Like maybe, I don't know. You go back.
Well, the last one wound up. Oh no, yeah, 2017 was also a 3:30. They never have these at night, I guess.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's Georgia. Do you think there's a difference playing in front of these night environments versus playing like they got the light shows and all that? Like, is Tennessee is Neyland Stadium different if Georgia gets them at 7:30 versus getting them at 3:30 in the afternoon?
I think it makes a little bit of a difference. I also don't really think it's something worth complaining about, though. Like, I know Tennessee fans were like pissed if that wasn't a night game. They're like trying to make us lose, like not a night game. It's like, well, it doesn't affect it that much. But yeah, I think, I mean, Jordan Hare, my God, like that's one of the best environments in all of football. And so anytime that there's a night game there, and especially you've got Cam there getting his number retired, and it's Georgia, and you want to beat Georgia, like, that place is going to be insane, dude. I mean, we've seen the last time Georgia went to Jordan Hare, they almost lost. And the only reason they didn't was because Bowers put the cape on. So I absolutely think that I might not go as far as some people with, like, the home field advantage stuff, but absolutely I think it's real.
Oh, yeah, the home field advantage is definitely real. I'm just saying in terms of a 3:30 game versus an actual night game.
I think it's real.
As Sanford Stadium seems to just take it up a notch when it's a night game. So, if you just want to just assume everyone else does as well. I wonder, at least Georgia does have a game, and no disrespect to Auburn, I think against a better team. I think most people would agree Tennessee's a better team than Auburn right now. So at least Georgia does have that one game in a hostile environment versus a top 15 team in college football. They've been punched in the mouth. They've had to deal with that environment. So that's one good thing. But yeah, it'll be interesting. We can get in our preview, but I just wanted to shout out how Georgia's kind of owned the Tigers in recent history. So we'll see if freezing cold takes finds me on this one. But also in the comments, appreciate everyone watching live. Georgia Gal 12. I did not realize Matt is an old man.
That's not an old man. That's ridiculous.
Still young at heart. I'm seasoned. That's what I like to say. I appreciate you watching. Georgia Gal 12 as well. Do y'all think Auburn would be in a better spot if they had picked up Diego Pavia? That's a really good. I mean, it's not even a good question. Absolutely, they'd be in a better spot. If it is a good question in terms, I appreciate you watching. But it's no question. Like Auburn would be, like I just said, all that group of teams I think are all the same with varying degrees of quarterback play. Like Auburn would go near the top of that list all of a sudden. I think with the playmakers they have, with this defense, you give them a quarterback like Pavia, like Auburn might be a national title contender. I don't know. Am I too high on Pavia?
Pavia is good. I mean, he's like 27, so I hope he's good. But like, yeah, I think Pavia, funny enough, is like 3-0 against Hugh Freeze all time, like dating back to when Pavia was playing at like New Mexico State and Freeze was at Liberty. Like that's a thing. And I saw somewhere, like, this is just Pavia being Pavia, but where he was like, oh, like I can't wait to play Auburn this year or whatever. And he said something to the effect of like they could have gotten me, but they didn't. Yeah. But I don't know how much of that's like actually real versus how much of it's like a Baker Mayfield type of thing where you're like, making up something to psych yourself out, like having that chip on your shoulder. But yeah, no, I mean they'd be better. Like you look at Auburn this year, what we were just talking about, like they've got a really good defense. They've got maybe the best top 3 receiver in college football. They've got another good one in Singleton. The quarterback play hasn't really been there for them this year, and Diego Pavia is better than Jackson Arnold. So yeah, I think they'd be in a better spot, but I don't know how real it is that Auburn was like had their chance to get Pavia and let him slip between their fingers. I guess we'll never really know, but if that was if it was real that Hugh Freeze like that Pavia wanted to play there and Hugh Freeze was like no, and he's 3-0 against Hugh Freeze, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, maybe it's one of those things like, colleges send out a bunch of letters to guys they don't really recruit. Maybe it's like he Auburn had some sort of preliminary interest, and he's obviously a guy who's transferring, trying to get in the SEC and all that. So that's a place, probably one of the bigger places that contacted him to potentially play. So he's like, yeah, that's my ticket to the SEC. Yeah. And you chose Peyton Thorne. Not only Peyton Thorne from Michigan State. I don't hate on taking Peyton Thorne from Michigan State, but to just go with year 2 of Peyton Thorne, that was just, I'll never understand. Just like, no, let's run it back with Peyton Thorne after that last year. Yeah, that was so good. I didn't realize that what you said at Liberty in 2022, Pavia 16 for 21, 214 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. 20 for 125 on the ground and 3 touchdowns. So 49-14, he had 6 total touchdowns. And then, with the next year, beat them at Auburn, with New Mexico State, beat them at Auburn, and then Vanderbilt beat Auburn. So they get them again this year, right? I think Vanderbilt.
I believe they do.
Well, yeah, obviously if they played last year, everyone plays the same teams they played a year ago. So yeah, that'll be that's interesting. I think they wish they had Diego Pavia right now. And then Daniel Denny, appreciate you watching. Thanks for reminding me of the beatdown. Not that I'm getting cocky here, sir, but I honestly don't know which beatdown you're referring to. If I'm being honest,
I think it says beatdowns. Like he just mistyped it at the end.
Okay, I missed that. Yes. So then,
should we talk about the game now?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Yeah, this is a weird game. I don't even really want to call it a trap game because I think everyone knows how big of a game this is for Auburn, especially considering like there's definitely like a compounding effect. Like the more and more Kirby continues to dominate these rivalries, the more intense each game that follows becomes because it's like, is this the year that they finally snap the streak? You know, like you heard that with Tennessee a lot going into that game, and I think you're going to hear it with Auburn a lot this week too. Obviously, Auburn probably got robbed against Oklahoma. I know that they got that apology from the SEC, and they were like, we don't even want the apology or whatever. But like, yeah, 0-2 in the Power 4 play right now. This team
Yeah, I
is
should say, I was going to say, I guess you got it. But yeah, these are stats versus Power 4 competition so far.
sorry. But yeah, no, this is not a game I would be taking. Not saying Georgia's going to take it lightly, but this is a game that I don't think Georgia fans should be taking lightly at all. I know that we've kind of gotten used to like, it's Auburn, we always beat them, but no, man, I think that the recipe is there for this to be a really close game. Vegas.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, and if you see the stats there, versus Power 4 competition so far this year, Baylor is their 1 win. They're 0-2 in the conference. Georgia obviously wins over Tennessee and Kentucky, and the loss to Alabama. I think it's weird because Auburn is kind of like on paper the same as they were a year ago, but also just like so different. Like you look at coming into this game last year, they'd also played 3 games against Power 4 competition, and they were averaging 16.3 points per game in those games. Like this year, they're averaging 21 points a game. Like giving up 21 points a game. That's essentially the same thing they were doing last year, losing while only giving up about 20 points. The only difference is in those 3 Power 4 matchups they had before Georgia last year, they had 11 turnovers. And in those 3 games, who was it? Cal, Oklahoma, and one other one. Oklahoma, they only turned it over once. It was another 5 turnover game. They had 2 5 turnover games early in the season. This year they have none in those big time games, and maybe it's good for another 4 points a game because they're still not doing much offensively. I just worry because what we've seen from this team to this point, like you see the stats versus Georgia versus these power competition. Georgia's giving up 26 points a game. Granted, I think Tennessee and Alabama are better, much better offenses than the teams that Auburn has played to this point. Although Oklahoma looks pretty solid. Also, the rushing yards per game is a little skewed. So they ran for about, I think, 280. They were for 300 yards, I think, on Baylor. And so in the games versus A&M and Oklahoma, they've been kind of shut down on the ground. So like, yeah, Baylor had 400 yards in the I'm sorry. I'm all over the place. But yeah, it's I don't know. I worry about Georgia's defense, but I also worry, about this Auburn defense.
Yeah, Auburn's got a really tough front 7. Like they don't allow much on the ground. I think they only allow something like 80 or so 88 yards per game on the ground, which would put them at 6th in the SEC. So they do have a good run defense. They're a tough team to run on. But yeah, I mean Georgia's got plenty of concerns too. I don't know. I can't really envision this being like much of an offense. Like I don't think this is going to be a shootout though. I think this is going to be a lower scoring game.
I mean, I would be surprised if it was a shootout because I think if this game was a shootout, then I'm not going to say I've given up on Georgia's defense, but I've given up on thinking Georgia's going to have a good defense. I think right now I can still think, well, Tennessee and Alabama, those are really good offenses. Georgia's going to, play better against other teams. But if Georgia puts up another, gets exposed in the secondary again and someone lights them up for 30, 40 points, granted, Alabama only had 24, but Tennessee went for 38 in regulation. Then I'll start to get worried. I think this should definitely be a low scoring game. Because basically every Auburn game is like, it feels like every Auburn game is like 10-10, third, fourth quarter. And I don't know. It's Jeremiah Cobb so far has 403 rushing yards through through the first 5 games, so he's looked pretty good. I think Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton are one of the better, wide receiver duos, if not the best one in the conference potentially. But with what you've gotten out of Jackson Arnold so far, it just you can hardly tell really. So I think if I was Auburn, I would at least every series I'm probably dialing up a deep shot. Just let Cam Coleman go straight, just throw it to him. Just see what happens. Maybe the DB will fall down, maybe he'll interfere. Like, I don't know. The Georgia DBs haven't been very reliable this year. So
yeah. I mean, but Georgia's got to know that too. I mean, I would fully expect because what's happened every game Auburn's lost this year, it's been teams just fully commit to shutting down the run game, and then they bracket Coleman. And so you're taking away Coleman and you're taking away the run, and you're daring Arnold to beat you doing something else. I think Georgia's probably going to do that too. Now, does Georgia really have the edge rushers to like kind of just sit back and just know that they can win consistently? No, they don't. Like Georgia doesn't have an edge rusher as good as Kieran Crawford for Auburn. They straight up don't. But I think you have to beat Auburn by just doing the same thing that everyone else is doing by bracketing Coleman, taking away the run game, and forcing Arnold to sit there and hold the ball. Because Arnold takes a lot of sacks. And I know Georgia doesn't really get a lot of sacks, but if there was ever a game where they were going to get some sacks, it'd be this one.
See, that's what kind of worries me, if I'm being honest, because that was the formula for A&M and for Oklahoma. A&M had 5 sacks. Oklahoma had 9 sacks. And those were still games in the fourth quarter. So Georgia's not getting any pressure at all especially in the SEC games. So I don't know that Georgia can replicate that defensively. So I don't know, is this the game that Jackson Arnold has time to sit back and he can actually make some throws if he has some time? That I don't know. But I do think, looking at those games, those other 2 games, against A&M, they had 24 for 52 on the ground. And against Oklahoma is even worse, 26 carries for 32 yards. So they got absolutely shut down in both of those games. The only thing is I would never have said that. I never would have guessed I would say this, is that I don't think Georgia has as good of a defense as Texas A&M or Oklahoma right now. It's just, that's a crazy thing to say because we're talking about the Georgia Bulldogs. So I just don't know. I mean, Georgia should be able to make them one-dimensional. I wouldn't say Alabama was one-dimensional, but they were able to shut down Alabama's run for the most part. They did have some success at times, but I don't know. I'm not feeling great about Georgia's defense because, like I said about those other 2 games, those Oklahoma and A&M games, those 2 games are on the road as well. There's a reason to expect Auburn, whatever performance Auburn had versus those 2 teams that are currently in the top 6 of the rankings, they'll have a slightly better performance playing at home in Jordan-Hare Stadium.
Yeah, and Georgia just, as much as has been made of their secondary, and definitely they've struggled a little bit. The main problem that's causing the secondary struggles is that they don't get home. I mean, I've been banging the drum about this for a while now, pretty much the entire season, but Georgia's pass rush has not been good in a single game. It was not good in their first 2 cupcake games. It was not good against Tennessee, and it for damn sure was not good against Alabama. It wasn't even good against Kentucky either. It's just a bad pass rushing group. Now, the only thing that can help you, though, in that scenario is, I don't know the exact numbers that Arnold taking, but I swear there was one game where Arnold took 9 sacks, and there was one game where he took 7. And most of those sacks were on him. They were.
Let me correct myself. Oklahoma had 26 for 32 on the ground. Auburn had 35 for 67 in that game.
Okay.
So a little better. Sorry.
Yeah. But no, I mean, sorry. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought.
Sorry, man. You were talking about Jackson Arnold, I think.
Oh, yeah. I was saying Arnold holds the ball so long. He just, I don't know. Maybe I think he just doesn't read the field as quickly. He just doesn't process things as quickly. That has been the thing that's really kind of sunk their offense at points this year, other than the fact that they just can't throw the ball well in general. But I think it's really that. It's really the sack taking. I think in general people don't realize how much of like a bad quarterback trait that can be sometimes. Like people just assume that whenever a quarterback gets sacked, it's on the offensive line, but that's an issue that they've had this year with their quarterback. And never mind that Arnold hasn't, even when he has gotten the ball out, the results have been mixed at best. So you've got to, like you said, you've got to make Auburn one dimensional. You've got to have them, living in third and longs. And Jackson Arnold is not Ty Simpson. And teams have been able to get Auburn into third and longs consistently this year by stopping the run. And as much as I sit here and talk about how bad Georgia's pass rushing is, which it is, they've been very good at stopping the run. Those edge rushers, they might not get much pressure on the quarterback, but they do set an edge in the run game, and the linebackers are who they are. They fit the run really well. Like, I feel good about Georgia's ability to stop the run this game, and I don't feel good about their ability to rush the passer really ever, but I think if there was ever a time in an SEC game where they would do it, it would have to be this one. That would just have to be the way the game goes.
Yeah, I think that's fair. A fair criticism of Jackson Arnold. I think my biggest worry is Jackson Arnold's played 3 games against Power 4 competition this year. We've said probably a few times already. The first game against Baylor, where was that game played?
It was in like Atlanta, wasn't it?
It was in Waco, Texas.
Oh, it was. Okay, I thought it was a neutral game for some reason. Yeah,
they played Oklahoma.
Shout out to them. That's a big win.
Then they played Oklahoma, and that was in Norman, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And then they played Texas A&M, and that was in College Station, Texas. Mm-hmm. This is in October 11th is the first Power 4 game they have at home. And on the 6th game of the season. It's just crazy. I've never seen a schedule like that. So I feel like the fans have just been waiting for this game. Like, yeah, they didn't get up for Ball State and South Alabama like they're going to get up for Georgia. So that's another thing. It's like if Jackson Arnold seeing ghosts and maybe holding on to the ball too long, how much of that is the hostile environment he's playing against and that he's not going to play against here on Saturday?
That's very true. I haven't really thought about that. I mean, that was also the narrative about Alabama going into the Alabama game was like, oh, they can't play on the road. How is that environment going to affect them? Now, like, it obviously didn't have much of an effect. I mean, Alabama started that game pretty fast, but yeah, I like we've been saying. I mean, this is going to be as hostile and as rocking of an environment as you can really get, especially considering it's Cam's game and it's Georgia and everything. Like, it's going to be intense, and this is where the experience from the Tennessee game is going to really come in handy for Georgia. It's like, this isn't Gunnar Stockton's first big road test, even this season after that Tennessee game, and I think that's going to really have to serve them well because those fans are not going to let them chill out for a second. I mean, it's going to be just loud, noisy all the time.
Yeah, I'm with you. And looking at what these other teams have done to Auburn at this point is what's interesting to me. Like, it's kind of been done in different ways. So like you kind of had to lean on the quarterback just making plays himself when it came to Oklahoma. Like, not only did they have 32 yards rushing, but I think Mateer was like the leading rusher with like 20 something. Mm-hmm. So, and then Baylor goes off like 400 yards. Like you saw Gunnar Stockton throw for 300 against Tennessee. So it's like, that's another way that Georgia could beat them. And then you saw Texas A&M rush for exactly 207 and pass for 207. So that seems like probably the way that Georgia would like to do it and be balanced. Like you see the stats on the screen, Georgia averaging 226 passing yards a game, 202 rushing yards a game. Like, they want to be balanced. And this year, that's the biggest thing is Georgia's able to run the ball again. I feel confident saying that. Maybe it's still early, but to this point, they've been able to run the ball. Why am I blanking on dude's name? Chauncey Bowens has been legit RB1. I think he's kind of separated himself at this point. So the fact that it's not all on Gunnar Stockton, I feel like I do trust Georgia's ability to run the ball. Like, even though they did shut down Oklahoma's run game, A&M was able to have a lot of success. Now, it's not like it was just Marcel Reed, too. I think Marcel Reed may have had negative yards in that game. So it was a lot of the running backs doing that. So, yeah, I think the running game on Georgia's side is probably what gives me the most confidence and just, taking the crowd out of the game maybe a little bit at times. It's not all on Gunnar.
Yeah, the only thing with that, though, is we don't know what their O-line's going to look like. They might be starting 3 freshmen. And that's a big deal. I mean, that's the big thing that, like, I agree. Georgia has done a great job running the ball this year. But when you have, I mean, we saw what happened last year when they had just a litany of injuries on the offensive line and they couldn't keep a lineup together. Like, that really does have an effect over the course of a season. So if I know that Kirby said today that Monroe Freeling's injury is not as serious as they initially feared, and they're really trying to get Green back, but it doesn't sound like Green's going to come back. Like, it doesn't. So it'll be tough. It'll be tough with that line. But yeah, I agree. The best way to take a crowd out of the game is to wear the defense down with running the ball. It's the best way to just kind of get things back to an even level. And they're going to have to do that. That's the best thing to do on the road.
Yeah, and you said 3 true freshmen. Who's I assumed it was Bo Hughley on the left side, right? Is he gonna get to start at left tackle?
I assume. I mean, I don't know. Like, I have no idea. I don't know.
So he's what? Is he a third year sophomore? I want to say Hughley.
Yeah, that sounds right.
But
I was talking about like Gaston and Glover.
And Glover on the other side. Yeah. The thing about them two is, like, they might be part of the Georgia's best 5 anyway. So it's like maybe Gaston's better than Ernest Green.
Oh, Gaston missed that block against Alabama. Like, you can't trust him completely yet. Yeah, he's talented as hell for sure, but it's like, this is Jordan Hare.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And he's one. He got hurt early in that Tennessee game too, yep. Right? Yep. So, you know, maybe he didn't have to deal. Yeah, he might struggle a little bit on the road. So yeah, it's definitely worth concern for sure. Micah Morris at least did come back in that game. But he's had multiple injuries now, like a hamstring, and then this was like a shoulder out of place or something like that. Yeah. I don't know. I guess that sounds a lot more serious to regular people than it is to football players. Shoulder out of place seems like you're out at least a week, not one snap.
Just pop it back in.
But yeah, I mean, Bo Hughley, I don't know if it's Hughley or Hughley. I feel like I split the difference and subtly say the G. I don't know which is right. What'd you say?
Hughley.
The G is silent.
Like you wouldn't say like Hughes.
Yeah. That's what I don't know. I've heard it said different ways. I don't know. So Hughley, I'll go with that. I mean, he looks good in that Tennessee game as like the third tackle being thrown in there. So I don't know. Maybe if he's getting all the first team snaps, maybe he'll be ready. But yeah, the offensive line is definitely worth concern, especially against that Auburn defense on the road. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah, it's really not. I know the line is only 4.5 right now. That's kind of justified. I'm actually pleasantly surprised with how much the media is giving Auburn a shot in this game, because I think they do have a real shot. It's like if they can get the run game going early against Georgia, and Arnold can hit some huge throws against a Georgia secondary that has had some really rough moments, like, and they get the crowd going, and then on the other side, if they manage to slow down Georgia's run game and get pressure with the patchwork offensive line, like, there's a real path to Auburn winning this game. I absolutely think there is.
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's do. You ready for score prediction?
Yeah.
So before this season started, sir, I like to go look at our preseason predictions. Or you want to just give me your prediction without knowing what you did the first time?
Sure. Yeah, I'll do that. Now?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Yeah, I know I was just saying that there's a real way for Auburn to win this game, and there definitely is. I think it's going to be a close game, but saying if Arnold can hit the big-time throws is just a big if. It's like with everything that we've seen from them this season. And yeah, like you said, you could definitely chalk a lot of that up to the crazy road environments they've had to play in to start the year. He probably will come out looking a little bit more composed in Jordan Hare, and he'll probably have a bit more time to throw than he usually does or did in those games. But Auburn's passing game has just not been there at all this season, man. And I really think if Georgia can shut down the run game early and just force them to beat them through the air, take Coleman away to the best of your ability. He's going to make some plays. He's Cam Coleman. But if you can, like, take him away just don't let him catch 10 passes for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think I'd feel pretty good about Georgia's defense, as suspect as it has looked this year. And on offense, I really do trust Gunnar Stockton to have a good game. I think he's played well in just about every game that they've had this year. And Georgia's running game really looks good. I know that there are questions about the offensive line, but they've got talented runners who they can, over the course of a game, can sub one guy in, sub one guy out, and keep them all fresh. Like, that's a big deal in these road environments. And Georgia, I think, has tried to build their team to be prepared for these kinds of games, these, road environments where it's just a crazy game and everyone there wants to beat you so bad. But I would go final prediction. I think it's going to be a close game. I'll say Georgia 24, Auburn 20. So Georgia misses the current spread by half a point.
Oh, did you say it's 4.5? I thought it was 3.5.
I think it's 4.5. It could have moved again, but I think it's 4.5.
Okay.
Check.
Let's see. Just looking on ESPN scoreboard, that might not be the most up to date. That's showing 3.5 right now.
Oh, okay. So that might have moved then.
Okay. Move in terms of, I guess, people picking Auburn.
Well, because I thought it was 4.5 for. I thought Georgia was favored by 4.5. You're saying 3.5. So
gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Maybe it's. I honestly don't know. I feel in terms of my pick, if I would have picked the same score, if I would have seen my preseason prediction, but I just happened to see it. But I think I would have picked the exact same score. So my preseason prediction was 27-23 in this game. And that's kind of how I'm feeling. Like, I feel better about Georgia's offense. I definitely feel better about Georgia's offense right now than I did in the preseason. But this is such a tough environment. Jordan-Hare Stadium at night. I think this one's going to be a real stressful game. We've dealt with a lot of those in recent years, or in recent year. But yeah, I think Georgia ends up pulling this one out. I'm going to say 27-23. Your preseason prediction was 23-14, by the way.
Yeah, I'm giving Auburn more than that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that either. I think the difference between Auburn, obviously there's a lot of difference between Auburn and Alabama, but in terms of Ryan Williams versus Cam Coleman, like, I think Georgia did a pretty good job of limiting Ryan Williams. But Alabama just had so many playmakers. It's like, okay, you can take him away, but someone else is open. And I think if you take Cam Coleman away, I think obviously there's Eric Singleton. He is the leading receiver right now.
Singleton's caught more balls than Coleman this year.
Yeah, but outside of those two,
taking Coleman away.
And that's probably what it is. And outside of those two, like, Alabama's just had so many more guys, I feel like that hurt you. But so I feel like if you take Cam Coleman out of this game, most likely Auburn doesn't get that big play that beats you, because that's what Auburn's going to need. If Auburn hits a 50-yard touchdown in this game at some point, it's like that's what's gonna worry me.
Yeah.
So, and with what this defense has been giving up this year, it's like, that is the thing I'll say about Alabama. Like, obviously Ryan Williams dropped the one long touchdown that would have been early on, but as Tennessee was just torching Georgia like deep, like Alabama was just kind of cutting them up. Like, it wasn't like they weren't getting big plays. So, end result is still getting thrown all over. But I don't know. I definitely don't think that Jackson Arnold can do the same thing that Ty Simpson was doing to this defense. No. But they got to get some pressure. If another game Georgia doesn't get any pressure, that they could easily lose this game. So, yeah, I don't feel great about it, to be honest, in terms of just overall confidence. It's a dangerous spot. I don't think it's any kind of like trap game, like some people have said. Like, maybe some people just don't understand the rivalry of Georgia, Auburn. Like, Georgia's not looking ahead on Auburn. Like,
Auburn can never be a trap game.
No, without a doubt. I think Kirby Smart has joked before that he's like basically been prepping for Auburn every year since like 2003. Like, regardless of what staff he's been on, like, they're playing Auburn like every single year.
That's funny.
But yeah, so,
and Freeze too. He always has. He plays Freeze all the time.
Yeah, it does feel that way. And Freeze had I guess not. It blew him out. Blew him out that one time at
Alabama. Freeze was at the SIP. They play there all the time too.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, so surprise, we're picking Georgia to win this game. What was your score?
24-20.
And so if it's 3.5, we'll both take them to cover that. Anything bigger, I don't feel great.
Yeah.
Don't even feel great about the 3.5. If I'm
I
being
don't
honest.
either.
But this is
Win.
this is one of the more loaded weeks, sir. We'll do rapid fire around the SEC, around the rest of college football. But next week is, I think, the only week I think all season where we get 8 SEC games, and that'll be glorious. But this week we get 6 SEC games, and then Ole Miss with that random game versus Washington State in week 7. I don't know. It's just so strange to me. Alabama, Missouri, sir. Alabama 2.5 point favorite on the road at Missouri.
Yeah, on the road at noon. Columbia's going to be rocking, but Alabama's put up 2 really great performances these last couple of weeks. I think the tide is going to keep rolling.
Is this
take them by a touchdown?
I feel like this game's in a sneaky spot. I don't think I have the nuts. I don't have the guts, I should say. I don't have the guts to pick Missouri to actually beat Alabama, but I don't know. Sandwiched in between Georgia, that big game with Vanderbilt, as weird as it is to say, and then Tennessee next week. I don't know. Maybe they're not ready for Columbia. You know, Missouri's been circling this game. No one knows what this team really is yet. They've just blowing out bad teams to this point, but I don't know. Missouri could be tricky, man.
Yeah, they look. I mean, Purbulla looks like a good quarterback. Yeah, they look good.
Yeah, I think in the end, I still got to pick Alabama to win. But Oklahoma, Texas, I guess without John Mateer, Texas is a 2.5 point favorite in this one. Unranked Texas is a 2.5 point favorite over number 6 Oklahoma.
Yeah, and Michael Hawkins doesn't look like the worst backup in the world, so I don't think Oklahoma's offense is going to go extinct. He obviously doesn't have the same skill set as Mateer as a runner, but I actually think with everything that's been said about Texas lately and them being dropped out of the poll entirely with what they were supposed to be before the season and the talent that is still in their roster, I think they're going to come out really ready to play in this one, really wanting to prove something. So maybe the Oklahoma could smoke them, and then we're just like, okay, Texas, it just isn't good at all. But I'm actually going to pick Texas in this one.
I'm going to go on the other side. I think Texas is not good at all, sir. I think Texas might just be bad, and Arch Manning might be the worst quarterback. Outside of Kentucky, he might be the worst quarterback in this conference right now.
Come on, man.
I mean, who's worse? I mean, Jackson Arnold. I'd take him over Jackson Arnold. Outside of how many quarterbacks are you definitely taking?
Like Mississippi State and
Blake Shapen
Green's pretty good too. Like Shapen and Green are pretty good.
Blake Shapen, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm taking Pavia over him. I'm taking
Lagway. I know he just lost the Lagway.
I seen Lagway have a good game this year. Lagway struggled too, but I think I'm taking Lagway. I think there's a legit argument that he's been outside of Kentucky the worst quarterback in this conference.
That just
I'm taking Oklahoma in this one. I think Hawkins Jr. had several starts a year ago. He's not completely inexperienced. So yeah, give me Oklahoma to win that despite no John Mateer. Also because like they were able to beat Auburn without, I mean, John Mateer like played well in that game. But in terms of like, it only took 24 points to beat Auburn. Like I think this Oklahoma defense it only take about 20 points to win this game. Like what did they do against Florida last week? How many did Texas put up? Is it like 28, 20 or something?
It was 21. I think it was 29 to 21.
29, 21.
Florida's got a good defense though.
Yeah, I think Oklahoma does too. I think if Oklahoma can score 20 points, I think they can win this game.
That's fair. I'm just, I don't know. Texas, I think Texas has been getting a little, well, by me. I started the show just don't. So I don't know why I'm the one being like, oh, they disrespect Texas. But like, I don't know. I could see this being a bit of a bounce back for them. They're catching a backup quarterback at noon. They always seem to run in the backup quarterbacks, Texas. They never have to play anybody's starter. And
this is 3:30.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
it is usually noon.
Should only being at noon. Yes, 3:30.
Yeah.
Anyway,
with Lee Corso shooting off the gun and everything,
I can see this being the game where Texas bounces back a bit against a down Oklahoma. Just Oklahoma will be fine, but I think they do drop this game.
I don't know if any other Georgia fans were feeling weird or feeling, I don't know, icky in some way last week, rooting for the Gators
I wasn't rooting for the
against
Gators.
Texas. You were rooting for the Gators?
I will never root for the Gators.
I mean, I was rooting against Texas. I was definitely rooting for Florida to beat Texas. There's something about Texas, man. They're new to the conference, but I thoroughly enjoy watching that team lose. So I don't know, but it was Florida, but maybe I don't know. You want your enemies not completely dead. You wanted to get back up off the bat a little bit. And then Arkansas goes at Tennessee. Arkansas upset them a year ago. Tennessee 12.5-point favorite. Any chance Arkansas gives them a game?
No, I don't like Bobby Petrino, so I will never pick him to win.
Yeah, I think that's a wild card with Petrino. Like they could just look completely different, but honestly, they didn't just find a defense overnight. Like Taylor Green was already playing well this year, so the offense is probably still going to play well. But yeah, I don't think they can get it done on the road. I would take Tennessee, maybe not to cover. I don't know. Maybe it's competitive, but I don't know. I have no idea what to expect. Arkansas interim teams are dangerous. Teams with interim coaches are dangerous.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll take Tennessee there. Both in agreement, I guess there. And then Florida at Texas A&M. A&M is 7:00. A&M is 7.5-point favorite. What do you think about that one?
I'm taking A&M. I know Florida's coming off a very emotional win, and they're playing for Billy every single week, or at least presumptively they would be, because I know Billy's on the hottest seat in the world right now, even after beating Texas. But A&M has looked really good this year. Reed has looked really good all season. They've got a monster defense, it looks like. So that's in College Station.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm picking the Aggies.
Yeah, I mean, they beat the brakes off of Florida in the swamp last year. And I think that was Marcel Reed's first start of like the whole season, I want to say. Yeah, I think A&M's legit. I think I don't know if easily. I kind of think they easily beat Florida. Like, I think they beat them by multiple scores. Like, I think they're just better. And yeah, College Station at night, that's going to be a rowdy environment. DJ Lagway probably turns it over a couple times. And then South Carolina at LSU is the other night game.
Oh man,
LSU's 9.5-point favorite in this one.
What a game that was last year. Yeah, I think that's too many points for LSU. South Carolina got robbed last year. That pick six got taken away from them, but
garbage.
I don't know. South Carolina has been pretty disappointing to me this year. I mean, they got handled by Vanderbilt. They lost to Missouri. I guess took care of, I think, whoever they played. They played some. It was either Kentucky or Mississippi State who they beat, but I don't know. I'm going with LSU. That's also a team coming off a big loss that really has something to prove, and I think that they can do it here. It's Death Valley at night against South Carolina. Like I trust LSU in that one.
Yeah, I don't know if they cover that spread because I'm not sure about this LSU offense to this point. But yeah, I can't pick against LSU in Death Valley at night. That's especially like you're saying, like South Carolina's not been as good as advertised. But granted, this is kind of when South Carolina gets dangerous. You know, they are not the team that meets preseason expectations. They're the teams that you throw out and you're like, you give up on. It's like, no, hold on. They're once you've given up on them, then South Carolina, they'll show how dangerous they are. So I don't know. We'll see about that. And then the last two that are relevant in college football. Let's go with Ohio State at Illinois. Any chance Illinois pulls the upset? 14.5-point dog.
Oh man, Altmaier had a really good game last week.
Big noon Saturday.
Yeah. No, I don't think that's the shocking. I don't think the shocking Ohio State loss is going to happen yet. I think Ohio State will take care of business in that one.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think it's a dangerous spot because I still don't know how good Ohio State is this year. Like the Washington game, the win was like just kind of a boring win. I felt like, and when you have a good defense, games can be boring. They just kind of suffocated them, I felt like, and then it was 24-3 by the end of it, or however many they ended up scoring. But yeah, I just don't know about Ohio State this year. It felt like this was like the year for Illinois, like that everything was aligning. So maybe this is the game they've circled and they've got all their tricks and everything pulled out for this game. Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt will be there.
Okay.
I don't think Maserati Marv is going to be there, but Gus and Klatt will be on that one.
Hey, they've got Jeremiah. They're good.
No, I'm just really making a joke about Gus Johnson, calling him Maserati Marv, a nickname that never caught on. No one else ever called it.
There. He doesn't have barbecue back there.
But yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr. might be like the 10th best Ohio State receiver in the NFL. Like, I don't know if you were watching this.
He had a sick touchdown yesterday, though. He had a crazy touchdown in double coverage. The Cardinals lost the game in the worst way I've ever seen in an NFL game. But Marvin Harrison, sick touchdown. I see you, sir.
Okay, fair enough. He's been a little underwhelming, especially how good the rookie receivers were last year.
I believe him, he's gonna be so good. Trust me.
Yeah, but yesterday was like Ibuka was going off, Smith and Jigbo was going off.
Yeah.
Like
they're crazy. They've got just nuts.
And then the last one, College Game Day, number 7 Indiana at number 3 Oregon. Oregon's a 7.5-point favorite in this one.
Nah, give me Coach Sig. Give me Coach Sig.
Really?
Yeah, he wins. Google him, dude.
Oh man, I kind of wanted to do it. I'll be honest. I don't know. Maybe I'm just blinded by the 50 spot, or is it 60? They put up 60 against
Illinois so much, dude. It was crazy.
And maybe I'm buying my own narrative here with Penn State and Texas are just that bad, and those aren't actually good wins. So I don't know. I'm still wondering about Oregon, but especially Dan Lanning, his history going up against offensive coaches. DeBoer had some success. Ryan Day obviously picked him apart a year ago, but I'll hedge my bet. I'll say Indiana covers that 7.5-point spread, but I think Oregon pulls this one out at home.
Okay, that's fair.
All right, sir. Yeah, big time, loaded weekend of college football. Michigan and USC are playing, and it's that's a brand matchup. No one cares about it. Yeah, it's sure USC, Michigan, and conference play. Sure. But yeah, man, it'll be another great weekend of college football. I'm excited for it. I have one of those weekends we have to sit around all day, watch everything else happen, and then wait for our team. That's why I don't like the 7:30 games. I gotta stress all day. I like the 3:30 in that sweet spot. Another note, I don't know if you saw the Ole Miss. They announced that's gonna be a 3:30 next week, and I don't know, maybe Georgia fans are bummed about not getting the night game, but I kind of like it. I like that 3:30 starts in day, ends at night. I like that. But yeah. I appreciate everyone who's watching, everyone who's tuning in live. We'll come back at you with our post-game show sometime Saturday night. I don't know. We'll
Sunday morning.
Time TBD, but I don't know. I won't be there, so I'll probably be ready to go post-game live. I don't know if you will, but we can discuss that.
I have no clue where I will be for that game, so I'll have to figure that out.
For sure. But I appreciate everyone who's watching. For that guy over there, Bo Underwood, I'm Matt Green. And as always, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
College football is even more exciting when you've got some action on the line, and the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread, and I've got a 40-plus year track record. 11-0 in the college football playoff for me last year against the money line, 8-3 against the spread. And I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill of Wager Talk is our ace in the hole, show stopper. 7 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick. 28-12 against the spread the last 3 years. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Corey Bratta, Matt Zemek, and Steve Dace. Check out those numbers. Become a YouTube or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click Join, and then select a betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2025 a winner now.